So you heard most folks really tell you how to bring customers in. We aim to be forgotten, actually. We're quite the opposite. We're the ticketing company behind some of the attractions, and I'll share through some of them. Not to brag, just to give you guys some credibility around who we are. So I'll start with the title's a little bit risque, right? Where you're trying to say fire people. I'm not trying to say lay off anybody. Repurpose them to do something else. So I'll start by just telling you a little bit about Anchor, and I'll be brief, I promise. We're a bunch of nerds who left the evil empire that sells you a lot of those expensive sporting tickets that Damien was talking about. We left Ticketmaster together to start a ticketing co for the attraction space. So we now do 76 million guests. These are too small to read, so I'll go through just who we do, who we power. Different verticals, which tells you that we get a picture. It's a little different than just an observatory or just one attraction. So zoos, the #1 zoo in the country, San Diego Zoo, with over 400,000 members. And then we power the Bacardi, so for all of you alcoholics in the audience, we do every distillery worldwide, right? So from France, if you're drinking champagne, if you're in the UK and you drink whiskey, we do that. If we're in Angel's Envy in Louisville and you like yourself some rum, Bacardi, Puerto Rico, we do that as well. The Toronto Zoo in Canada, in Washington, it's 19 million riders riding the ferry, but closer to home here, we do the New York City ferry. Who's bought a ticket on the app before, hopefully? All right, so in New York City, fun fact, they're about to reach 50 million riders since inception of the app. So quite an achievement. We have on the West Coast, not the best coast, on the West Coast, Alcatraz, and then here in the best coast, we have, proudly to say, under Raph, who is in the room, the Statue of Liberty. And when I say power the ticketing, I mean, we do everything from the ticket booths to the mobile app to the online ticket sales. And again, I'm sharing not to brag, just to tell you that we have a unique perspective as to what the guest cares about. Not to purchase, but thereafter. Because, at this point, we're 8 years in, we've kind of nailed the purchase flow. And we aim to not even be part of the flow, right? We want people to purchase so fast that you forget us. In fact, fun fact, typical NYC ferry purchase takes 1.8 seconds. Because you're typically doing an Apple Pay, double click on the side, and you're done. We don't want to be in the way. And we don't want to be part of the upsells. We want to do that after the fact. We just want you in and out. What's important is thereafter, right? After you've already purchased that ticket and you have that QR code in hand, now what? Do you facilitate a nice and simple path to get there? First, right, with mapping. Do you get them to answer all your questions about what they should wear? Can they bring their pet? Can they bring their bratty children? I've got 3, so I'm allowed to say that. And you have to answer that in the best of ways and the fastest of ways. And please, the answer cannot be call our call center. So our call center happens to be out of Chicago, 50 people deep. So not a small call center. And we want them doing outbound sales as opposed to just sitting there servicing already existing sales. Because that's where you lose money, right? So how do we reduce the servicing? So we did the simplest of things. We collected over 4 years of calls transcribed with a tool called Observe AI. And Observe transcribes them, gives you a little sentiment analysis, but more importantly, it summarizes the question and the answer. So we ingested that into a schema, or if you want to sound smart, you say the word ontology. You put it all into one ontology to then provide easy answers to the guests. And we all hate a pretend call service agent. We want to speak to a real person. Well, it sounds like a real person. And I know, most folks will say, I are my guests comfortable with that? That's really what matters, right? You want your NPS score to match the experience that they had in mind. And 80% of our guests, which we've surveyed, like to use the AI tool because to them it answers their question and answers it fast. As opposed to even a 60-second hold time, which we were putting them through. It wasn't a 5-minute hold time, it was 60 seconds. But they don't even want to wait on a hold time, and they hate the word phone tree. So, I know I do as well, but anytime you put people through the phone tree, even if it's option 1, they don't want to be a part of it. So, really, what I'm going to do is put myself on the spot and answer some questions. I'll answer some questions in 2 different places. On the Statue of Liberty set of questions here, but I'll also answer it on a net new, and again, really putting myself on the spot, on a net new site which we just ingested yesterday. So, Summit One Vanderbilt, not a client of ours. So just to clarify, I just want to trivialize how simple it is to put a live agent on your site. It doesn't take much, don't be sold a $5,000 a month solution by anybody. This should be relatively cheap, if not free, right? You should have the ability to ingest everything that Google has learned about you. And Jason showed they've learned quite a bit about your business over the years through FAQs, through your business profile, through what consumers are even saying, and just ask away. You don't need to have, a deep database or knowledge base to be consumed by the AI. You just need what's already existing and out there. So what can I expect to see? And this is, again, it might fail. So just know, I'm definitely just putting it out there to see what happens. Behind the scenes, this is grabbing the answer as fast as it can, but as you guys know, the expectation behind AI answers is you actually have some latency time. People are okay with waiting 4 or 5 seconds, which before was not okay. So, rapid answer. How much are the tickets, right? Probably a common question, and you have to click around the site to find out, and we have 3 different offerings, a ton of complexity. Not saying buying a ticket is hard, but there is different price points. And let's see, how do I get to Summit? Everything can be answered without them even training this quote-unquote model. There's no need for that. So I'm just going to say, it is easier than you think to slap a live agent on your site. And I'm not saying it has to be a reservation system even doing it. It could be you in a matter of taking 6 lines of code script and dumping it on your WordPress site. That's how trivial it is. And that alone shaves heads. That reduces your call volume. It shaved quite a bit of heads for us. So as you saw in my slide earlier, we were able to get away from 35% of these questions around servicing and focus on sales. I don't want to do the same demo for you with Statue of Liberty. That one's been absolutely nailed. But I will put myself on the spot and say, do you need McKinsey? Sorry. You do need McKinsey as an analyst, but can you do some of that analysis yourself based on your own data? So I pulled up the only client that actually authorized us to share data. So none of this is staging data, all of this is very much real. And we have the ability to ask it anything and everything. And the best part is, I don't want you to ask it things in a formal way, as Google has trained us so darn well over the years using keywords, right? Ask it in a casual way. So I'm gonna ask you some things. Give me the top 3 sales folks who killed it in 2025. And again, the ontology, this one is slightly more complex than just ingesting publicly available information. It is a private repository, so it is your data and your data only. It is not fed back to ChatGPT, it's not fed back to Gemini. It lives in your own repo. And there's a ton of risk in sharing your financials with privately traded companies, or in the case of us, we also deal with publicly traded companies. So we don't want this to be ironed out. but it is answering it in a very elegant way. And it's taking me seriously, so I'm going to tell it, I don't know, what event rocked it in 2025? If anything fails, I just want to make sure you guys know this is all live and on the spot. So, oh, there you go, the Fiore Holiday Cruise. Anybody buy Fiore clothes, gym clothes? All right, there was nice giveaways on this cruise. So, that's a fun fact, and that's a good sales day for a single cruise. I don't know. Give me, and I want to put myself on the spot. Ask me anything you want to put in here. Let me just top 3 events by sales. And now you start getting into more interesting questions when you have, in our case, 7 years worth of data. So now you can do comparative analysis without an analyst or an intern, poor intern, going out there and getting data for you against December 2024. So now we're doing multi-year comparison and letting it pull out data as fast as it can, and it is doing it darn fast. So look, we will focus on experience table. Here's a SQL query. It's telling you to go do it yourself. That's not very helpful. So, you know, sometimes you have to be more specific and say December 25 revenue versus December 2024. And just telling you that it's, and Damien said it well, it's not perfected and it continues to evolve, which is why it's nice to see, ouch, a 0. Ouch, 0, 0 is brutal. Can you try again? And you let it think and conversate with it better than you would with an intern. It definitely can't do it all yet, but we have seen, or are seeing it do incredible things when it comes to charting, when it comes to solutioning around what channel is doing best for you, right? So you've got OTAs in the room here, you've got Katie from Go City. It'll tell you, which pass is doing the best, and sort of understanding what a pass company is versus what a partnership is or versus an OTA. So we are seeing the AI parts evolve quite a bit. I'll leave you with just our learnings from this tool set. It does do a dramatic impact to what your EBITDA looks like with headcount, right? You could do more with less. You need less juniors than you did before. And you actually learn quite a bit about your own business. So for us, it was really hard to figure out, staffing. So what day of the week is the busiest? I don't know. You don't even have to say in 2025. So let it tell us what day of the week is the busiest. The busiest week, no surprise, is Saturday, right? But what is the second busiest? So that we can do better scheduling of our staffing. And this is a staffing heavy business. What you're looking at here is the City Experiences San Diego operation. So you're looking at, what is the second busiest? Second busiest salesperson. No. What is the second busiest day of the week? Now you're learning how its strengths and weaknesses. Look, it's telling you Sunday is the second busiest. Surprise, right? You would think that our Thursdays or Fridays.
But it has a higher number of bookings than Saturday.
Right. I probably didn't even tell it what year. So it's looking as to across multiple years. The other one is looking probably at 1 year. I love that you're seeing this. It's not a perfect science, but it's ingesting everything it can. And it drives decision making. So fun fact also around staffing, we used to staff Friday to be much heavier than Sundays, and now they're equally staffed. So really use the tools, abuse them. Not necessarily ours. You can use any other BI tool that's out there, but definitely it's not as complex as it was before. That's the message I want to leave behind. It used to be, hire 16 engineers, get a data scientist, get a data engineer, type it all. You don't need to create your own models or your own LLM or your own RAG model. None of that needs to happen anymore. You can leverage existing APIs, type it relatively easy, and pay a contractor for 1 week's worth of work, and then query it yourself to be this imperfect as you've seen now. So, thanks for your time, guys.